Hi everybody, it's Mike Newman. It's Sunday night with ILXCTF after a fun conference weekend. Can you believe this weather? I hope we have 3 more weekends like this. And I think we may. I'm just, cross your fingers on this. Friday, it was great. We'll talk about, I went to 3 meets. I went to Southwest Prairie on Friday, which was a great meet. I went to Duquesne on Saturday morning, which was great. And then West Suburban Silver, oh my, what a great meet. So we're going to talk about that. I listed 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 10, 11 meets here that we're going to talk about. I mean, there's like 50 conference meets. I don't have the recap done for the conference meets from Saturday and Sunday because EFCC ran on today, Sunday. But they'll be up. They'll be up by tomorrow morning. So I hope they're up. They'll be up tomorrow morning. There's Dallas, Philadelphia is on right now. It is going to be on. I put the Buffalo, Kansas City game on pause so I could do this. So I'll come back, write the commercial that I was at. But there's a lot to talk about. I can't really rankings. I had somebody going, I really want to discuss why my daughter's team was dropped out of the top 30. And I'm not going to say which class. And I'm just thinking, I'm reading this email. I know you're busy right now, but if you have time, I'm like, that's not going to happen. I don't discuss rankings. And the only rankings that matter are, what, November 5th? Yeah. By 4 o'clock November 5th, you know where you're ranked if you made it that far. So stop doing that. Stop bugging me about meets. There was another parent at one of the meets I was at this week. Oh, yeah, you're going to do this because you're a former York runner. Blah, 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 blah. I'm like, I have York ranked 21 right now, but they really ran good on Friday, or on Saturday. So we'll see what happens. Rankings are the final rankings before we get into regionals. The rankings don't matter after this week anyway. So you see where you're finally ranked at the end, and there you go. And then it doesn't matter. It matters if you're one of the 6 teams out of your regional, you're one of the top 7 teams out of the sectionals, and then state. Roll the dice, see what happens. So, I'm going to write previews about some of the regionals on for this coming Saturday. Not a preview of every regional because some don't deserve. Never mind. And then we'll write a state meet preview. Oh, no, not a state meet preview, a preview of the Waubonsie Valley sectional. And other sectionals, we'll talk about all the sectionals. And then we'll go to state and see what happens there. So I was at Southwest Prairie. I've never seen Shanahan Park in that great a shape. And you could tell. Audra Soderlund of Oswego wins in about 17:54. She hasn't been training. She's had an injury with her ankle. She rolled her ankle, and it was pretty serious for a little while. So she didn't run. She started running this past week, and you couldn't tell. Well, she was doing a lot of elliptical stuff and everything else, but she runs 17:54, wins by 10 seconds. Manuka, they could pack it up in that meet because they were the class of the field, and they won fairly easy. But Soderlund wasn't pressured. It was only 10 seconds, but she wasn't pressured. She had like a 15-second lead. She just cruised in. And she said she felt good afterwards and all that. We get to the boys' race. Man, hey, hats off to Oliver Burns of Plainfield North. Man, oh man, oh man. Did he run great or what? Watching him, I was, here again, watching the eyes of the runners. And I'm watching Burns, and he was so damn focused. And so was Cayman Vijay. They were right together all the way. Vijay said in that last half mile, his legs were hurting. He thought Burns was going to pull away from him. And he didn't. Vijay put in his kick, and he runs 14:45. which is number 3 all time behind a few guys like Lucas, Burzbickus, Matt Withrow. And then Burns was tied for 4th with Zach Dale. They're even ahead of Chris Derrick. Derrick ran 14:48 at his regional his senior year, but ran an hour continual beforehand because he was thinking ahead. I guess he got sick after the race, according to his coach, Paul Vandersteen, and but still running 14:48 after an hour, a hard hour run. That was Derrick, though. I mean, he's one of a kind. Such a great runner, better person. So Plainfield South looked really good. The one thing that I noticed is in that last one, they had their pack up there, and I still think they had 5 in the first 8, something like that. But they had Vijay, and then they had Reynoso, Maloney, and Sword, and but their 5th and 6th runners faded back, but they still had 5 runners in the first 8. But there was a little bit more of a gap. Those guys were together at 2 miles. And you could see, you know, if you go back and watch the video of it, you could see that. So Plainfield South, they're back at Minooka this week. Let's see if Vijay can go a little bit faster. Burns will be there. We'll see what kind of races happen in that meet. Duquesne, I was there Saturday morning, and it was like 38 degrees. Somebody was complaining, oh, it's way too cold. I'm like, are you out of your mind? It was beautiful. 38 degrees, hardly any wind. The wind picked up during the afternoon. And I'm like, well, West Suburban Silver doesn't start till noon. I can catch this meet. Made it over from Lake Park to Kathleen Legge in 27 minutes. And but Shager, she ran 16:19. She didn't get close to her record. Well, the funny thing that she told me is she was working on tangents, running closer to the, you know, running the shortest distance and everything else. Because it is, I mean, they measure on the line in the middle, and the course is 3 miles. But if you run on the tangents, it's like 2.97. So she was working on that. She wasn't worrying. She was worrying about winning. And, I mean, she won by over a minute. Nicole Podlish ran 17:47. She ran a good race. But, I mean, Shager is Shager right now. And it's going to, I mean, it'll be interesting to see at the sectional what goes on with Shager and Evelyn Head from Jones Prep. Could be an interesting race. We'll have to wait and see. Shager's just in a class by herself right now. Batavia ran a great race, 51 points. Wheaton Warrenville South had some illnesses where they had a couple of their top 5 runners in the hospital during the week. I'm not going to say who or whatever, but they still came. They competed. Everybody ran. They got second with 76 points. We were talking about the last time about you can't run up 4 straight weeks during the state series. One race is going to be a clunker. One's going to be good, one's going to be better, and one race is going to be great. And that's like mental preparation and everything else. So, Wheaton Warrenville South, they'll be one of the favorites in their regional. And then the sectional, they will be challenged by Maine South, and they'll be challenged by Huntley. That should be good there. So, and on the boys' side, Quentin Lowe, boy, I mean, he threw a 4:49 final mile in. And so he broke away from Virginelli, and Garcia stayed with him till like a mile and a half, 2 miles, and then Lowe said, "No, I'm going to drop the hammer. See you guys later." And he ran 14:56. So Lowe is running with more confidence. He is running with more confidence. He had COVID, was out for a little bit at the beginning of the season, but he's coming on strong. So Batavia is in that regional at Hinsdale next week. And holy smokes, is that's a sectional meet. The teams that don't make it out of that regional should be moved to like the Jones regional or the Lake Park sectional to get a second chance to qualify. Because, well, I won't say anything. The views are my own and not necessarily those of Athletic.net, Runner Space, and DyeStat. I just want to get that on the record. So, Wheaton Warrenville South, nice pack, 5 runners in the first 10, like a 30-second split, something crazy like that. But they won easily. Wheaton North ran a good race. Wheaton North always peaks at this time of the year. They were second with 50 points. Then we get to West Suburban Silver. Man, oh man, oh man. That boys race, go back and watch the highlight video that I shot. So what you didn't see is at 2.5 miles, Aiden Bandukwala, who's just, if there's a most improved runner this year, other than Mario Torres at Buffalo Grove, and we'll get to him in a minute, it's got to be Aiden. I mean, he was running, around 15 minutes, 15:01, but now he's a front runner. He's running with Watke. He was leading at 2.5 miles. He said, I was right. I knew I was their dinner. Newhart and Watke were just waiting to make the move. Newhart made the first move. Newhart said I was hurting, but I had to go. I had to take the kick out of Watke. It didn't work. But 14:34 on that course with great conditions. Boy, it's getting windy out there. 14:34 Newhart, 14:36, excuse me, and then 14:47 for Bandukwala. Team-wise, does Oak Park win? Now, Daniel Johnson has been one of their top. He ran under 15 minutes earlier this year, but he's had some minor injury problems. And I'm just listening to the wind out there. Does Oak Park beat Hinsdale? Maybe. I don't know. Because Oak Park still had 3 runners in the top 10. Hinsdale had 1, 3, 8, 14, and their 5th runner was 25th. Only 39 runners finished in this race. So Johnson drops out for the 3rd time. Hinsdale looked good. 49-54 for Oak Park. Oak Park looks good. So anybody who's discounting Oak Park, come on. They're good. They're really good. They're going to be in contention for a trophy. Downers Grove North, also good. They're 4 points back. They're 9 points behind the win. 58 points. And then Lyons Township was 71. Lyons Township is down. I'm like, you get 4th place in the toughest conference in the nation, scoring only 71 points. You're within the hunt, but you've got to be at your best at that meet. And even York. York scored 107 points. They ran their best race of the year. They had a 33-second split, I think it was, on 5. But you had so many good teams up there, it's hard to tell. And then York is going into that cauldron of doom at Waubonsie Valley in a couple of weeks. They'll make it out of the regional, but they're improving. They're running better every race. They didn't run as good at Peoria as they did at Palatine. They've stayed level. This race, they went up. So, I mean, there are about 10 or 11 teams that are going to be vying for 7 spots in that boys sectional. The girls sectional, well, you have York, and they'll put 7 in the first 11. Bria Bennis is one of those runners that you're going to see in the top 5 at state. She's just really running strong. We ran 16:56 to win. What can you say about that? York 7 in the first 11, 4 in the first 5, 6 in the first 8. I don't know what their split was. I don't think it mattered because they had their pack. Then Downers Grove North beat Lyons Township. Lyons Township has had their number the last 2 weeks, the last 2 meets, and Downers Grove had a nice pack. It's like 8, 9, 13, 14, 15, something like that. Lyons didn't have Shannon Cranny. She was under the weather on Friday, wanted to run, and her coach said, nah, you don't need to run. So we'll see her next week. All of those teams, I mean, Glenbard West will be at that regional. Girls, they were 4th, but they were like 50 points behind, but they're a good team. And Hinsdale Central gets 5th. They're going to have a tough time getting out. Katie McCabe is going to run next Saturday. I talked to her, and she's been training through this week. She didn't need to race this week because they knew that York was going to steamroll everybody, and they did. And but Oak Park will make it out. I mean, there are a lot of good teams. Can you imagine 5 teams on the boys' side from the West Suburban Silver making it out of that sectional? It could happen, but it's so tough. That sectional is so tough. We're gonna get into the toughness of it. It's gonna test them, and don't say it's gonna wear them down for state, because we saw that last year in that regional, where Hinsdale and Downers Grove North went at it for 3 straight weeks. And Sandburg too in that sectional. And what happens? Sandburg. And then those 2 schools, Downers Grove North and Hinsdale Central. Hinsdale second, Downers third. So iron sharpens iron. I loved it good. I don't know if I ever let up. I don't know if I was we're going to rest you for conference meeting. I don't understand that. I really don't. I'm old school. Get off my lawn. You go. In the old days, we ran we ran tough dual meets. Our conference, half the team score was on dual meets. You don't run dual meets anymore, but it made me a better runner. And then I was ready to go when we got to the conference meet, and then regionals and sectionals in the state. Loved it. Loved that competition. I'd go crazy if Mr. Newton said, "Well, one, Nooms, I'm not going to have you run." I think I would have gone, "Are you okay, Mr. Newton?" Any case. So, MSL. Prospect really looked good. They had a 41-second split on 5, but they didn't have the competition, like similar to York. They went 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, something like that. 5 in the first 8. Did I get that right, or was there another runner in there? I don't know. My notes are terrible. But they won with 25 points, 41-second split. Barrington second, Hersey, Barrington second. And they look good. The individual race, great race, 17 minutes for Hardin, and Hardin 17-1 for Scout Storm. So that's going to be interesting the next few weeks, what goes on in that sectional. And then you throw Brooke Johnson from Lake Zurich, who had a good race at North Suburban. Can't wait to see what happens in that sectional. On the boys' side, Palatine, 42 points. Beat Barrington, who's a young team, 64 points. Well, Palatine's young too. They did get one of the runners back, senior Jack Casicchio, who had a stress reaction, didn't run to Palatine, hasn't run the last 2 meets. He's been in the pool, ready to go, cross-training, but he was their 5th runner. So let's see how he progresses over the next 2 weeks when they get to sectionals. But Palatine is one of those teams, they're sneaky good. So that's what happened at MSL. But pretty good with Palatine, and then the other 3 teams. Barrington, Hersey, 78. Conant's really running good this year. 81 points. They may make it to state. Mason Creek, 15:05. Mario Torres at Buffalo Grove. Man, he's running great this year, 15:06. Okay, DVC. Naperville North wins with 25 points. 63-second split on 5, which is our better split. The one worrisome thing that it's going to hurt their depth a little bit is Emma Barris, who was all-state in track and was still playing soccer. This was going to be her last year of soccer, and she was going to concentrate on running the next 2 years. Well, she played a soccer match on a Saturday and tore her ACL. Had a bad injury, so they don't know how long she's going to be out. You know, our thoughts and prayers for a speedy recovery to Emma. But wow. I don't think I could have done 2 sports at the same time. Being as clumsy as I am, I would have done something really awful. I would have screwed something up. Even with running, I was an adventure with me running. My friends can tell you about that. So Naperville North 25, Naperville Central 41. Kate Tooting did not run for Naperville Central. I don't know if she's sick. I don't know if there's something else going on, or she was held out. Here again, I'll go back to the old man on the lawn. Don't understand it. Neuqua Valley, I'm happy for Coach Paul Vandersteen. This is his final year coaching. period. And he's goes out a winner in the conference meet. Naperville or Neuqua Valley with 33. Naperville Central at 41. Naperville Central didn't run their top runner, Luke Noren. Go figure. I don't know. But Newport 14:54 on that course. That sectional course at Waubonsie Valley tends to run a little bit slow. Just giving you a heads up on that. So you look at the times going, these are slow, but Newport running 14:54. That's pretty good. And then Zach closed with a fast run. That's stupid. Close finished in second, 15:09. But Neuqua Valley 33, Naperville Central 49, and DeKalb had 101 points. But they're a team that they made it to state last year. They're really improving. They're running better every race. You could see them in Peoria. Just saying. Central State 8, Rochester. They haven't run in Peoria this year. They've been running in the smaller meets. They showed up at Metamora, ran a great race at Metamora, and they come back 35-43 over Chatham Glenwood, who's ranked in the top 10. Rochester's ranked number 5th. I was questioning that. I ranked them number 5. Am I good with that? And I looked at the results, and I'm like, yeah, that's pretty good. So they had 5 in the first 16. They had 4 runners up there. They only had a 60-second split through the first 4, with 4 runners in the first 8. Chatham Glenwood had did I write that down? No, I didn't write it down. They look good. Let's just say that. On the boys' side, Normal University is one of the teams to beat in 1A. They only scored 26 points, had a 9-second split from 1 to 4. I think 23 seconds at 5. They're ready to go. I think they're going to be the team to beat in 1A. You have so many good teams in 1A, and you have DePaul ran good. Lanton School ran under control, winning the ISL. And who else? Rockford Christian, Decatur St. Teresa ran good at CIC. Riverside, Port Byron Riverside won easily over Newton, who has a good team. But Riverdale's a top 5 team too. So there are all these teams that are lining up behind U-High that are good. So I jumped ahead there. We'll talk about that in a minute. Fox Valley, the girls is so tough because you're going to see all these teams, well, all the 2A teams in the same sectional at Caneland. And it's going to take a lot of teams that we're hoping to run at state out, because you have the 3 Crystal Lake schools. You had Huntley was 76, and then Crystal Lakes. Huntley had 3 runners in the top 14. Huntley looked good, maybe not as good as 2 weeks ago or 2 weeks ago. Yeah. Crystal Lake South with 83. Crystal Lake Central with 98. Ferrero was second behind. Rachel Sukup of Prairie Ridge. She's going to be a runner in the top 5 at state. Wait and see. Now I'm looking at my notes. Hadley Ferrero was 13 seconds. Yeah, 13 seconds behind Sukup. So those 2 warriors in 2A are going to go at it the next few weeks. And then at state, it's going to be fun to watch. McHenry was 4th, and Cary Grove is running. Cary Grove could get out. We'll have to wait to see the next 2 weeks. The Caneland sectional is going to be tough. So is Deerfield, not so much so. We'll get to that in a second. On the boys' side, Jacobs 55, Huntley 64. Just like DeKalb, Huntley is improving. They go to the St. Charles or Lake Park sectional, and they can make it down. With Nitz winning in 16:21, Hollander in 16:27 at Veteran Acres. It's a 3-mile course, but man, if you haven't run Veteran Acres, I got to run it a couple of times, and I was hurting afterwards. I ran well on it because it's hills. I loved hills. I was a billy goat. So there. North Lake County Conference, the girls' race was lights out. Grays Lake Central 30, Lakes 32. Grays Lake Central had 5 runners in the top 10. Lakes had 5 runners in the top 12. Woo! And Caruth at 18-12, winning by about 18 seconds out of Ava Henney, the freshman from Grays Lake Central. So, boys' side, Grays Lake Central, 18 points. Not a tough conference on the boys' side. The girls' side, those two teams were just head and shoulders above everybody else. The Patriot Invitation, we already talked about Riverdale. Riverside Brookfield looked really good at Metro Suburban. They only scored like 20 points, or maybe less than that. They look good. They're one of the top 2A teams in the state, too. But in 1A, Tolono Unity with 55 points. I mean, they're the team to beat. They're the top team in 1A. And then Elmwood was like 157. Pleasant Plains was 192. Williamsville 223. And Father McGivney 224. The individual race was, here again, lights out. Molly Farrell, a freshman from Marshall, really keep an eye on her. She won in 17-17, was within about 13 or 15 seconds of Tatum David at Little Illini at Charleston earlier in the week. So she's the real deal, I'm telling you. Mabry Brune, we saw at Amboy. Amboy was a great race. Now I got to talk about Amboy. But Mabry Brune, 17:22, was second. Louisa Wilson, 17:31. Elena Rybeck and Caitlin Hatley were fourth and fifth overall for Father McGivney. Wow. I mean, the 17-17 blows me away with Farrell. She just keeps getting better. So, I mean, you have Mabry Brune that gets paid. You have Louisa Wilson. You have all these front runners. You have Rogan Sack of Winnebago. You have Herb. You have Woolery. Winnebago got second to Dixon, a 2A school, but Rogan Sack. Now I got the hiccups. Ooh, I hate it when that. Okay, but Rogan Sack won at Big Northern. Winnebago's pack is staying steady. I was talking about Amboy. I'm watching this race go on between 3 good 1A schools. 3 of the top 5 in the state. And they were so close together, I'm just adding it up. And it was like West Suburban Silver. I'm trying to add up in my head what the scores were, and I gave up because it was so close. And but in any case, I'm going through, if you watched the video at the end, I said, boy, these 3 teams have to be within 10 points. So I failed you. There were only 12 points between those 3 teams, with Rosary at 68, Eureka with 70, and then Winnebago with 80. Wow, that was a great race. It's worth the drive out on Monday morning. I love Amboy. It's such a great meet. It's such a cool place. And woke up some cows on the driving on the side roads, getting closer there. They're looking at me going, "You're playing that music kind of loud." Yeah, I like to sing to the music as I'm going to the meets. So we will, like I said, the conference recaps will be up Monday morning. It's just a lot of conference meets to talk about. And you know me with my writing, I kind of get a little detailed, so I know you like that. If you don't, you can go other places and not read about those conference results. It's going to be an interesting week. Lyons Township is going to be a good session. Hinsdale Central is the toughest regional in the state. You have another rematch between VJ and Burns at Minooka. Minooka Regional will be tough. I think Barrington and Palatine will face off again. New Trier looks really good. Maine South, even if they're not healthy, they should still win at Jones Prep. Sandburg looked better. They're going to go up against Lincoln Way East goes south. to Lockport. But Sandburg and Bolingbrook are the top two teams. Sandburg should win in their regional. But that sectional is just dirt tough. In 2A, I'll have to get back with you on that. Interesting to see how Riverside, Brookfield, and Fenwick face off at Hinsdale South on Saturday afternoon. It'll be interesting to see how the three Crystal Lake schools do. Where are they running? They're running at Belvedere. And then Grace Lake Central and Lakes go at it again at the Lakes Regional. So real interesting on the girls' side. Boys' side, it'll be interesting to see how these teams go. And 1A, I think we have a meet on Friday. Yeah, we do. At Washington Park. And I think Latin's going to be there, and I think DePaul may be there too. I don't know. But you have three good teams in that section. You have two real good teams in the section with DePaul and Latin School. In 2A, Latin School, they still don't have Anderson. They still don't have Kotler. They may not make it. They may make it out of the regional. It's going to be very tough for them to get out of that sectional, especially with throwing in Grace Lake Central and Lakes in there. Interesting to see how Marshall didn't run a full team at Patriot Invitational. So interesting to see what Bender does. It's interesting to see what Tatum David does in 2A. It's just going to heat up. It's just going to be really fun to watch. I love this time of the year. I mean, you could see it in my face. If you saw it in my face, there was somebody who didn't recognize me, which is cool. And because I like to be the thin white duke and away from everybody. But this one person's like, I recognize your voice. I'm like, man, I'm just going to, I talked to a friend at Hinsdale after the meet was over, or after the varsity races was over, and he's like, don't change your voice. I want to be a ghost. I just want to cover the events and write for you and all that. So I could go, are you Mike Newman? Well, he's not here right now. Maybe I'll. We can change it. We can do it that way. So we got 3 weeks till state. 3 weeks. I can't wait. Regionals will be great this weekend. We'll do recaps of every regional race. We're not going to do previews for every regionals. But when we get to sectionals, we're going to write about every sectionals, and you'll go, "Oh God, you have diarrhea of the pen, diarrhea of the fingers when you're writing." Okay, that's good. That's a good thing. So I think we'll stop here. Everybody have a great week. Wear your hats, wear your gloves if it's cool like this. You don't have to be the nature boy and go out, I'm just going to wear shorts and I'm going to throw my shirt off and I'm going to get pneumonia. No. Don't do that. Everybody stay healthy, okay? Big things are going to happen for some of you. Big things are going to happen for a lot of you in the next few weeks. Even if you don't make it to state, if you run a PR at the end, if you run your best race of the year and you still don't make it to state, well, that's a good note to leave, even though you want to make it to state. But in any case, I can't think of anything else. Like I said, read the recap tomorrow on all the conference meets. We already have the recap that's up from the conference meets from Tuesday through Friday, so check those out. I didn't want to miss anybody this time. There's one conference meet that's still not up, and if it's not up by the time I go to press, can't write about you. Can't write about how wonderful your kids are. So be it. But in any case, I'm done. I'm done talking. Everybody have a great week. Can't wait to see where I'm going to go regional wise. But it's going to be fun. It's going to be fun watching the results come in Saturday afternoon. That's a cool thing. Everything has to go up on athletic.net. Hurry, oh, look at that. Look at what that person did. I'm so excited. Okay. So that's it. Everybody have a great week. Bye. Talk next week on Sunday night with ILXCTF. That's good.